Welcome to Coming Home to Yourself, the podcast for high achieving women ready to lead from within. I'm Yagora, and here we dive into real conversations about confidence, clarity, and emotional freedom. Each week, I'll share honest stories, gentle insights, and soul deep shifts to help you reconnect with the woman beneath the roles. This is your space to slow down, breathe, and exhale, to stop performing strength and start living your truth, to remember who you are beneath it all. Let's begin. Hi, everyone. This is the first episode in the new year, and I do hope you have spent the holidays nicely and in the company of people you love. As you're used to till now, every episode brings something new, and through each episode, I'm sharing principles and things that change my life. And it's also the core of what I teach in my workshops and programs. So, December just passed, and that month can really bring its own kind of pressure. Family opinions, comparison, expectations, all judgments resurfacing. The feeling that you should be someone different. And a new year often awakens hope, but it also awakens comparison and self judgment. So if you feel emotionally tired already, nothing is wrong with you. I want you to check in with yourself first and be completely honest at answering the following questions. What part of you have you hidden to avoid being judged? What is one thing you're afraid people might say about you? Rate your fear of judgment from 1 to 10 today. Because with honesty, freedom begins. Let me share a moment that shaped my view on the judgments for me. You see, I always thought I was a confident person with solid grounding. I didn't realize how much life could still challenge that belief. About 10 years ago, I was appointed as a member of the HR Commission responsible for interviewing candidates for a supervisory board. At the time, I was just finishing my third maternity leave. But instead of simply doing my job, I suddenly became the subject of public attention. Somehow, information about my appointment got leaked to the press, and newspapers published articles questioning whether I was suitable for the position, not because of my skills, but because I was a mother of three children. The articles questioned if I could balance motherhood and professional responsibility, if I have the skills, the knowledge, the capability. And at one meeting, one of my colleagues at my 9 to 5 van even asked me directly if I thought I was capable enough to do the job, implying I wasn't. I was shocked. I doubted myself. I considered stepping down. I felt angry, especially because I knew no one would have asked this if I were a man with three children. For a month or two, I struggled with those thoughts, trying to regain my confidence. I felt like my grounding was swept away. I felt insecure, doubting myself, questioning whether I made the right decision to take the position, even almost starting to believe that people writing about me, a complete strangers, knew more than I what I was capable of doing. And the turning point came unexpectedly, with my closest female friends giving me a small wooden sign with the words, "You can do anything," carved in it. They believed in me more than I believed in myself at that moment. And that was a revelation for me. I remember thinking, if they trust me, why shouldn't I trust myself? I remembered what I'm capable of. I remember what I can do. And I got my grounding back instantly in that moment, knowing I will be fine. I will do fine. My confidence returned. And the next time I was publicly questioned, I calmly said, "Who are you to judge?" And that simple sentence ended the discussion.
If something in this already stirred a little recognition in you, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode. And if someone comes to mind while listening, share it with her. One message can be enough to shift everything.
That moment, although painful, became one of the most valuable in my personal and professional life. What I realized later is that their judgment was a reflection of their standards, their history, and their discomfort with a new voice in the room. Their judgment was a mirror reflecting them, not me. You see, judgment is always about them and never about you. So you shouldn't be taking on the judgment somebody gave you. But the fear of judgment is all about us, all on us. And that fear, if we don't understand it, can shrink us for years. And we all have at some point in life the experience of being judged, right? And we must learn how to face them and influence them. And you see, not long ago, I had a conversation with my eldest daughter. She's entering a world of friends, parties, and first loves. And we often discuss confidence, self trust, and being true to yourself. She was complaining about her looks and how she would like to change some things so she would be more likable. More guys would find her attractive. And that is actually how a lot of people, more females, think and change their looks to be more likable, loved, acceptable. And those are just the outside things like hairstyle, like fillers, breasts, or whatever. But a lot of them also change themselves, their behavior, taste, desires, goals, and then dim all that to become someone else they would not, so that they would not be judged or that they would be more acceptable. But that is how you lose yourself. So in the conversation with my daughter, I told her, and this is also something I want you to think about, if you change yourself for every person's approval, who will you end up being? Because at the end, you actually won't know who you truly are. You will lose yourself. And as adults, we still do the same thing, only in more sophisticated ways. We grow older, but the pattern doesn't disappear. It just becomes more silent and more socially acceptable. And what I was saying it to her, I realized that it's a question we should ask ourselves more times too. We all have edited ourselves for approval in the past. We all know the cost. And so I'm asking you, are you willing to do that further on? Or are you ready to finally let go and be yourself without editing, without dimming yourself, your life, without seeking for everyone's approval? Judgment hurts only because we believe it says something about us. And because it is maybe about the part, the characteristic, something we don't feel confident about or satisfied. When being appointed as an HR member, I was stepping in the unknown and I was insecure because I haven't been in that role before and and I did have some doubts without even realizing, but I did get aware of them after all the judgments from the press. And then everything compound and I felt really insecure. And doubting. I hardly slept at night or woke up in the middle of the night and stared at the ceiling. I was feeling like I won't be able to do the work well, feeling like I don't have the knowledge, the skills. Judgments from others just compound that. And this is why judgment stings. It lands where we feel the least grounded. But judgment is a projection. It's someone else's fear, insecurity, work view, story, standard. But other judgment is a mirror people hold up, but it reflects them, not you. Judgment hurts because we mistakenly believe it says something essential about us, but it doesn't. It's so important to separate judgment from fear of judgment as well. First of all, judgment is a projection. It is someone else's unhelpful thought, their fear, their insecurity, their personal standard, their story. Judgment is simply thought flowing through their consciousness. It is harmless energy until you attach it to something, until you take it as truth. Judgment reflects the judge, not you. And the fear of judgment is the nervous system's lie. It's the survival mechanism learned in childhood, and it is based on this equation that visibility equals danger. And that fear comes from past rejection, social conditioning, or emotional trauma around being too much or not enough, for example. Judgment itself is harmless. It is the fear of judgment that clips your wings. And this fear can originate from childhood memories, social conditioning, past projection, times we weren't allowed to be ourselves, situation where visibility felt unsafe, emotional trauma around being too much or not enough, as I mentioned. So if someone is giving you a comment about your body or competence, for example, she's too much or you're too much, or she shouldn't wear that, you shouldn't wear that, that is a judgment. And that judgment is a projection of that person's fear, insecurity, personal standard, or story, his or her low quality thinking, low quality thought. And fear of judgment is showing as you not posting, not applying, not speaking up, not doing what you want to do because you are afraid someone would judge you. It has actually nothing to do with the person, but it is your own construct, not connected with truth, with reality. Judgment is neutral until your thought gives it meaning. Thought creates feelings. Consciousness makes it feel real. Also, fear lives in thought, and it is not the truth. So, when you see judgment or fear as thought, you loosen its power and you stop mistaking thought for identity. You're not your thoughts. You're not your thoughts about judgment. You are not others people's opinions. You are the awareness noticing them. And when you remember that, freedom opens up. Visibility becomes safe again. And your goal is to reclaim the authorship of your life. If you keep editing yourself for approval, you lose the plot of your own story. You live in a movie where you are just a side character. And your soul can't breathe in a role that wasn't written for her, inside someone else's expectations. So have a think. Whose judgment do I fear the most and why? Where did you learn that being yourself wasn't safe? What has fear of judgment stopped you from doing? And what is the first moment you remember being judged? And what did it teach you? What part of yourself did you abandon to avoid rejection? And what if judgment is simply the tax you pay for being visible. This isn't about performing confidence. It's about becoming a woman who feels safe in her own skin, no matter who is watching. Because judgment is not your enemy. Fear is not your identity. Your truth is not too much. You are allowed to take up your space. You are allowed to be visible. You are allowed to be you. So I'm inviting you this week to take one small visible act despite fear. Pose the idea, wear the dress, share your opinion. It doesn't have to be big. Just be honest in one small place. Give yourself one moment of choosing truth over approval.
Thanks for listening to Coming Home to Yourself. If this episode spoke to you, take a moment to subscribe and share it with one woman who needs it. And if you're ready to go deeper, come find me on Instagram or Facebook, because this isn't just a podcast, it's a return to your body, to your breath, to your heart, to your own voice. Your story matters. You matter. See you next time.